You were head of happiness at Social Chain. Obviously, it was headed up by Steven Bartlett. How did that job come about?
Steve is one of the people I've ever met. A friend of mine sent me this job application and it said head of happiness, and she was like, this is you.
Why did she think you'd be great at that job if you didn't even know what head of happiness was?
I love to see other people happy. If there's a problem, I see it as something that we can work together to fix.
How is it having a business with someone and going through a divorce?
It's hard. I always try and see the best in everything.
Yeah.
But business is business, and sometimes it's really, really hard. But at the same time, that's also incredible because you're both in it together.
So tell us about Feel Good Club.
I saw the impact of being able to talk openly about mental health at Social Chain, and I knew that more people needed to have that. We did one post which went absolutely wild, and we gained like 150,000 followers overnight.
Wow.
Which was the most surreal feeling. When we sold our house, it just so happened that there was a boat for sale.
I want to know the toilet situation on a boat. Ooh. Hi guys, welcome back to your favourite podcast, You're Gonna Be Fine. Today is a very, very exciting episode. We have got our guest, Kiera Lawlor, which is very, very exciting. We're not gonna do an oh fuck of the week this week. We're just gonna go straight into it.
I want to know what that is though.
Normally we don't do an oh fuck of the week for guests, just because there's so much to discuss and we want to talk about you. But if you've got an oh fuck of the week, basically, when did you fuck up this week? That's essentially what it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Putting you on the spot
there,
but I love it. She's like,
when did I fuck
let's have it.
I spent about 5 hours creating content for our Black Friday campaign for Feeling. We've just set up the TikTok shop.
Yeah.
And then for some reason, the shop disappeared from my app. So one of the team was like, oh, maybe you just need to re-download it. So had all of this content ready to go. I deleted the app. It was all saved in my drafts. And then went back on it and all the content had completely wiped. So I kind of missed the TikTok shop announcement. And then yesterday I was so busy, I just couldn't even get back into it.
That's a really good oh fuck
that
of the week.
is.
And to come with that straight out of the gate,
That means there was a few and you just picked that one.
The way you went, I was like, I feel like there's a plethora to choose from.
That's usually us as well.
I feel like that's business though, isn't it?
Yeah,
You're constantly fucking up, and it's just how you deal with it.
How you deal with the fuck-ups. It's firefighting. Being a business owner is firefighting and actually enjoying problem solving, which is huge. So that's a really good one. We put you on the spot there. So yeah, we are going to get into you and your story. Obviously, there's so much to unpack. Literally, I loved stalking you. It was a pleasure to stalk. I feel like we kind of know each other from me coming in Feel Good Club. And chatting, and you're just a very gregarious person, get on with everyone. You're Manchester, aren't you? Born and bred.
No,
you're not.
No, I'm born in Birmingham.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't stalk well enough, clearly.
To be fair, I've not lived there since I was like 18, and that was a while ago.
Wow.
And were you straight to Manchester?
No, I went to uni in Stafford, the tiniest town in the world.
Yeah.
There was like one bar. And then moved to Manchester like immediately after. So I'm pretty much Mancunian.
Yes.
And every time I go home, everyone reminds me that I am now Mancunian.
Yes. And I thought you were. You're like, I'd say poster girl, Mancunian. And now I'm going to have to rip up the poster.
We'll pretend.
We will.
I'm from Manchester.
So there are so many things, like I said, like you are ex-head of happiness at Social Chain, which is super exciting.
So cool.
We're going to get into that. Obviously, Feel Good Club, which is an absolutely amazing coffee shop, and it's a platform that has over 500,000 followers. So an amazing, amazing community. So we're going to go into that. And then you also live on a narrowboat, which I absolutely love. We can't wait to get into that.
So cool.
And you're an author, which she actually left out of. I asked her to send me a quick little bio, and she sent all these things. And I was like, she's written a book. She's written a fucking book, which I actually own. And I was like, she's not put that on there. That is such a massive accolade. So very humble from you.
Yeah, fuck being humble.
You
need to
Do you know what
shout
it is?
about
It's actually just being forgetful.
Yeah, I'm not humble. I'm just forgetful.
So forgetful. And the last 5 years have been absolutely wild.
A blur.
Can't wait to hear
You
about
forgot
them.
the book.
Literally so much has happened that like it's kind of weirdly it's kind of sad because I feel like you get to these points where you're doing all of these incredible things and you don't have time to appreciate it.
Smell the roses, we always say that.
Yeah, so I think that's something that I'm really going to try and take into the next like year of like actually stopping and appreciating what's happened, so I don't just forget that I wrote a whole book.
I can't believe that you did that. We've actually got an episode coming out soon, which is Things to Leave in 2025. So that's actually a really good one. Nice. Like you're going to leave behind, like forgetting that you've written a book.
The rush of
and
life.
And you're going to try and remember to smell the roses and see how far you've come. And then the last thing, of course, there's loads of other things to get into, but you've got a new business, which is under the Feel Good Club umbrella, which is called Feeling, which is very, very exciting. So loads to get into, but I want to start at the very beginning. The reason I'm singing that is because we referenced before that me and Katie went on a cabin trip, and we literally we love musicals, so we were singing the Julie Andrews Sound of Music soundtrack. So that was a nod to that. My lovely voice.
You're going to be doing the jingle.
Absolutely, yes, the whole way through. So you were head of happiness at Social Chain. How did that job come about? I'm so intrigued because I love like job titles like this. I was actually offered head of brand energy for a protein brand ages ago. And I love that title. But I feel like I love your title way more, head of happiness. So how did that come about? What was the interview process like? Because I can't imagine, for people that don't know Social Chain, obviously it was headed up by Steven Bartlett, who is massively well known. So I can't imagine that it was like super corporate or
it wasn't
so I'm all. Really intrigued as to what that looked like.
Do you know what? It was actually, it all kind of happened by accident really, pre-Social Chain, which, that job title and that job was probably one of my favourite things I've ever done. It was absolutely incredible. But pre that, I was actually making music, and I'd been doing that since I was like a kid, and ended up getting to a point where I was offered a couple of deals, and then had this like mad realisation that actually I don't want to, this is my passion. I don't want to do it for work, and all of the fun had kind of been drained out of it.
Yeah.
So I found myself with the thing that I used as a creative outlet, which is then kind of weirdly how Feel Good Club happened. I used that as a creative outlet, and then it was no longer my creative outlet, and I felt a lot of pressure around it. So I turned down the deals, and much to like the dismay of everyone around me who had supported me on this whole journey my entire life to get my music to that point. And I was sat kind of just in this moment of, I have no idea what I'm going to do now. And I'd actually started the really early idea of Feel Good Club from my little studio apartment. I was making candles, did all the branding, had launched it. And then that came with, I was actually struggling really badly with my mental health and an eating disorder at the time. So I just wasn't in the position to launch the brand in the way that I wanted to. It was more of like a passion project. And then a friend of mine sent me this job application, and it said head of happiness, and she was like, this is you all over.
I love that.
And I'd never ever imagined actually getting an office job or anything like that. I always wanted to do something on my own, but it just really resonated. I looked at the job, and this office had like a big slide and all of these kind of things. So I just sent them a message, and I was like, I'd love to come in for a chat. So I went in, and the interview process was just really chill.
Love that.
We went up the room where the slides like connected to, and I was just like, what the hell is going on?
What is going on? This was kind of before as well. Stephen had his huge
following and stuff.
Steve
it was
was
before.
Steve was just there.
Yes.
He was like this little skinny, cute guy in a cap and a football shirt. Super, like Steve is one of the loveliest people I've ever met. Genuinely lovely person.
Yeah.
He came over, said hi, and again, I didn't know who he was at the time.
I love that.
And I just sat in this little kind of like soft play room and just chatted. And I told them about me and what I'd been doing, and that I was kind of looking for something new. And I went home, and a couple of days later, they were like, we'd love you to start.
Wow.
And so that went from head of happiness, and I actually ended up being the global director of happiness and culture. So looked after Manchester, London, New York, Berlin, and helped them launch all of the offices there. And it was, yeah, it was one of the most surreal experiences I've ever had. Like that place, Social Chain, was this hub of just all of the best people, young people as well, in one room that had no idea what they were doing.
Yeah.
Even Steve had no idea really what was happening.
Do you believe in like fake it till you make it? Do you believe in that?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm a big believer in it.
There's no other way. I think if you try and become a professional at something or the best at something, you've wasted all of that time not starting, but you're trying to get to a point where you think you're ready, where you're actually never ready. So you kind of just have to go. And like, I had no idea what a head of happiness was supposed to be. And I don't think they knew either. But
good.
What we actually were able to create in that space was a place where people were really at the center of the business. And we did a lot of like mental health initiatives, like company therapists and all those sorts of things.
Very innovative at the time.
Yeah.
Did you see that sort of popping up kind of everywhere now? Like it's more common now, but then it was probably, you know, it was
first of its time.
Yeah, very innovative. And I'm curious as well, like, you know, your friend said, oh my God, I think you'd be great at this job. Why did she think you'd be great at that job? If you didn't even know what a head of happiness was, where did that come from her?
I think generally, I think I love to see other people happy. I love to see other people thriving. And I think that it probably came from that. Is I do generally have like a positive outlook on things. Like if there's a problem, I don't necessarily see it as a problem. I see it as something that we can work together to fix.
Yeah.
So I think, probably that. I think.
And that's why you're a business owner.
Yeah.
And she loves problems.
Yeah. And great that you have a circle of friends that are recommending you for roles. Like we always say this, like you become the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with, and your circle, like Katie's, you know, given me loads of opportunities. I've given opportunities to Katie because we've got that abundance mindset in that there's enough for everyone.
Absolutely.
But a lot of people struggle to find their people because of that scarcity. Like I don't want to, you know, if I recommend her for head of happiness, well maybe I could be it, or you know. So have you managed to find good people?
Incredible people.
Great.
Yeah, I think, and you know what, I actually think that started at uni when I said like Stafford was this tiny little place. I actually wanted to go to London, but I was in a band at the time and we were doing quite well, so I wanted to stay close to Birmingham. And I think that actually started I think I was there for a reason. I remember getting there and being like, oh my God.
What have I done?
Yeah, I've come to this place where there's literally one club.
You see the same face all the time.
Yeah, but it actually ended up being incredible. And actually I was terrible at my course. I actually didn't even, I studied music, but I didn't actually look deep into what the course was. And it turned out that it was a Bachelor of Science rather than music, rather than a BA.
Plot twist.
So I got there and I'd failed maths my whole life. I failed my GCSE maths twice, failed science, and got into my first lecture and they were like, oh, you'll all understand this because you've done A-level maths. And I was like,
what?
I literally blagged my way into the uni because I said to them, look, I haven't done maths. I won't get this grade, but this is the music I've been making in my garden shed. And they gave me like an unconditional offer. So
closed mouths don't get fed. Exactly. If you hadn't have said to them, you know, here we are. And that's like the biggest thing at the minute that I'm trying to tell people. Even if you're not qualified or you don't quite fit it, you never know. Same with like, you know, roles that evolve. Like they can make a space for you. They can make a role for you. You know, stuff isn't as it always needs to look, you know.
Absolutely.
So I'm so glad that you did that.
It's really brave of you to walk away from the music. I'm almost like, I can't believe you did that, because I bet that was a really difficult decision to make, you know, and everyone around you who's supported you and is invested in the journey, and there's so many musicians that never get that, and I'm sure there's an element of not guilt, but maybe like, oh, I've been given this opportunity and here I am sort of walking away from it. Like, that's a real strength of character to do that. How did you know inside that was the right decision to do?
I think I'm big on trusting my gut and what feels right, and I think I actually don't think too deeply about things in that sense of like, if something isn't feeling right, and I'm so purpose driven, like if I don't have purpose, I don't have anything. I have to find purpose and passion in everything that I do. And I think as soon as that went, I knew that I would not be giving 100% of myself to whatever it was. So I kind of feel like there is such it's great to be able to say yes to things. And I think in business or whatever it is that your passion and purpose is, I think you have to be able to say yes when you're not ready, but you have to be able to say no as quick as you say yes, because you can find yourself on this journey where you end up in a place where you're just not aligned and nobody's going to feel good. What you're doing isn't going to benefit, and you as a person, you're not going to benefit either.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So Social Chain, how long were you there for?
I was there for just over 5 years.
Wow, so you're really shaping the culture, aren't you?
Yeah.
You were there with Katie Leeson, weren't you?
I was there with Katie.
Because we were at an event with her the other week, and she was doing a talk on imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Because she was 32 and she was made the managing director of Social Chain, which is obviously super inspiring as well. So you leave Social Chain, and you'd been working on Feel Good Club, hadn't you, alongside it? So tell us about Feel Good Club for people that don't know. Tell us what it is. Tell us how it was born, and just any more info that we can glean from that.
So Feel Good Club it's a purpose-led business. It actually started as I said, way back when I was kind of in that journey of quitting music. I'd been struggling with my mental health, struggling with an eating disorder for quite a few years, and I just needed something positive, and I needed to change my mindset on whatever it was that I was dealing with at the time. So I never ever had a plan for it. It was literally, okay, I want to create something where I'd lost the kind of creative outlet of music, and I needed another creative project to put in whatever I was feeling.
Because you are very creative. Like, I obviously just having a look on Feel Good Club, looking at feeling, like you're amazing at, marketing, all the creative graphics and whatnot. It's just, I'm so glad that you found that outlet, because I just feel like that energy had to go somewhere. And I'm so, I just love, we share all the Feel Good Club stuff on the podcast, and that's why we knew you'd be the perfect guest, because it's like all the quotes come from Feel Good Club. So it's only right
just
to have
everything. Our pages feel good.
It's just so good. So sorry to interrupt, but
that's all right.
Did a little bit of a confidence injection there.
Thank you so much. So I kind of left it there while I'd started at Social Chain, and Social Chain really allowed me to process that journey with my mental health, and hadn't really spoken about it. Feel Good Club, the early idea of it, that was the only place that I was really talking about it. And I didn't really feel comfortable talking to my friends, my family about it just yet. So that was the place that I was expressing myself. And then when I went into Social Chain, I was able to really talk about that experience, because it was also helping other people, and they were sharing their own experiences. And then myself and my business partner, Amy, we had kind of spoken about Feel Good Club the whole time. We'd always had the name there, and I always knew that it needed to be something. And one day she was really unhappy in her job, and I said, just quit your job and let's start Feel Good Club again. So we did. We actually got the thing that made us do it, because we didn't have any money to invest into it. Elephant in the room, we're now getting a divorce, but we just got married at the time.
We'll get on to that.
When you were like business partner, I was like, when are we going to explain business partner, other context?
Still wife, but soon to be ex-wife. We just got married, we'd just bought our house, and we'd kind of spent 5 years only focusing on saving for that. So we didn't have any money to invest into the business. So we'd randomly started getting these letters from Airbnb, and they were like, we've got a refund for you. And we were like, no, that's a lie. That's a scam. And then they sent us this last letter where they were like, if you don't input your details, we'll just send it back to the account. And this place we had stayed at, it was in Brighton. It was a gorgeous place. We hadn't complained about the place, but for some reason they put a 300, or was it it was £500 refund into our bank for this place. So we were like, right, the cost of the screen printer that we wanted to buy is £500. Let's buy it.
So that's divine timing, isn't it?
Like
That's
mad.
crazy.
It's wild. So Airbnb were essentially our first
investor.
Yeah. So we bought all of the equipment. We started making clothing. Amy had a clothing brand when she was at uni, so she was interested in that. And then I was in a much better place to kind of talk about my experiences with mental health and being in Social Chain. I knew that, you know, I'm not a professional, I'm not a therapist, I have no desire to be. There are people who are far more qualified to do that than I am, but I saw the impact of being able to talk openly about mental health at Social Chain, and I knew that more people needed to have that. So I just started sharing my whole journey of like recovery, and I know people say like things blow up overnight, but it really did.
Yeah.
And things blow up overnight, but also when you look back,
compounding, the stone cutter going ahead of a rock, you know, it doesn't split, and then on the 101st blow it splits.
Exactly.
And it's so true. But I also think there was like a space that needed to be filled, like, and you guys did it so well, because no one was really speaking about you know, vulnerability and like putting yourself out there and like mental health and how to feel a little bit better.
That was the problem.
And
that's
why it got received so well and still is received so well.
So it just kind of snowballed. And then I was in New York with launching the office for Social Chain, and there is the interior designer of Social Chain is a guy called Atul, and he is one of the most incredible people I've ever met. He's like in his 60s, and his whole thing is that he has been able to create the life that he wants to live by being kind and helping other people. People helped him, he helped others. And I remember meeting him for the first time at Social Chain, and he was like, let's go for lunch. It's like, we'd been working together on the office design. So he was like, it's Christmas, let's go for a little lunch. Anyway, I turned up and his entire family were there. His daughters, their fiancés, the dogs, his wife. And he kind of, he just like accepted me into his family. And then we've been friends ever since. So we were out in New York doing the office there. And I was wearing one of the Feel Good hoodies. And he was like, I've seen this online, like, what is it? So I told him, and he was like, well, what's the dream? And it was never really supposed to be a business. It was kind of, let's do this and see what happens. And we'd spoken about having like a physical space, because the online space had really taken off, and we were like, we need a physical space to do this in, whether that be events or a venue. So I told him, and he was like, okay, we'll do it. I was like, well, that's easier said than done when you don't
Where's
have
the cash?
you don't have any cash. And he was like, leave it with me. Anyway, I thought nothing of it. Flew back to Manchester, and then a couple of days later he came into the office and he was like, I've got the guy who's going to give you the place to do it. And I was like,
wow, fairy godmother, literally.
Literally.
I love
and
that.
do you know what?
To do.
Yeah, literally, like he's done this on so many occasions, like just helped connect with the right people. And he was like, yeah, you've just got to get your business plan to him tomorrow morning.
Just the minor thought, yes.
Right, so I run downstairs to the car park, I call Amy, I'm like, okay, I think we've got someone who's going to like invest. We need to do a business plan. So she hopped on Google and was like, how to write a business plan.
This was before ChatGPT as well, isn't it?
Yeah. It wasn't easy.
You were raw dogging it, literally.
You actually got to write it.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. So we stayed up all night, made this business plan, sent it over, and Howard, our investor, was like, okay, next week I've got this empty unit. Will you put on an event for me and show me what Feel Good Club is going to be? So we were like, yeah. And that, like, I work last minute. Like I thrive on like, give me 3 days to something, for something, and it'll be incredible. Give me 3 months and I'll wait until we've got 3 days.
If you give yourself 5 years to tidy your room, it'll take you 5 years to tidy your room.
Exactly.
I love that he said, show me Feel Good Club.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you can't experience something and understand something until you've literally been there. And it's a feeling, pardon the pun, literally, we'll get onto that. But yeah, I just love that he said that.
Yeah, so he yeah, and that was actually one of the reasons why I knew that he was going to be like the right person to be involved in the journey, because the business plan actually had barely anything to do with money, and we weren't making a profit in the business plan. It was just like, this is how much we need. This is what we're going to try and do. And so we did it.
Impact, isn't it? It's social responsibility to an extent.
Exactly, yeah. So he said, cool, okay, do it. So we did it. He loved it. And then he had the space on Hilton Street available. So he took us around there and basically said, do you want to do it? And then COVID hit.
Yes, that was it. I saw that. Yeah. But you're smiling about it somehow. That's why you're head of happiness. Right. You were head of happiness. She's like, and COVID hit. It's, wow, an absolute, for hospitality, just the biggest plot twist ever.
So how did that affect everything?
Wow. Do you know what? It actually had a positive impact in a way.
You were a coffee shop, just for context for the listeners. If you haven't been to Feel Good Club, you served coffee, brunch, events. We've been to events so many times. Yeah. I remember you actually had Steven at Feel Good Club, and I remember this was when he'd started getting way more famous, wasn't it? Yeah. And I remember I was in my dressing gown, and I was obsessed with him at the time. I was literally obsessed, and I was like, I need to run down and try and meet him. But I remember that. I think that would have been quite a few years ago. But it is an amazing space, and you did unreal coffee too, didn't you?
Thank you.
So that's just the context for listeners before you go on to the COVID COVID shit show, or not, as it sounds like it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, I mean, it worked in a few ways for the brand. One of the opening a hospitality venue, we actually had no idea what we were doing. And the space was massive. Yeah, it was 3,500 square foot. So we didn't really know what we needed for that. We just knew what we wanted to create in it. So we opened, and we had 2 weeks open before we went into lockdown. And it was chaos. We had no idea. So that time in COVID kind of gave us a crash course into how to run a hospitality business. But I think people needed the brand more than ever. So 100%. We chose to stay open. We chose to still launch, and we just did takeaway. So it gave people in the kind of surrounding area a lot of people, they lived alone. There was a lot of new moms who just couldn't see their family and they had nowhere to go. Yeah. So they would come in and get a coffee and would have someone to talk to. And then we did one post as, I think when we opened, I think we were on about maybe 30K followers. And then we did one post about going into the second lockdown, which went absolutely wild, and we gained 150,000 followers overnight. Wow. Which was the most surreal feeling, because 1 minute I was making these little posts every morning to 20K people, and then the next day I woke up and then there was almost 200,000 people, and I was oh my God, what do I say now?
Yeah, did you feel the pressure of that? Or did you just kind of, as you've said in the past, there was no plan, so you just kind of kept showing up and didn't overthink it?
Yeah, just kept going. Right. Didn't really overthink it. There was the moment in the morning, I think, where I was oh my God.
Is this real?
Yeah. Yeah, it was okay, what do I say now? And then I was actually, you just say the exact same thing that you've been saying while she's been growing it. Yeah. So that happened, and we spent, COVID is such a blur.
It really
can't even remember now, but we spent that kind of entire time really nailing what the space was to people, and we'd kind of cemented ourselves in that community. We stayed open on Christmas Day for all the people that we'd met around there who couldn't go home. So I think, it really defined the space as a place that was for a sense of community.
Community, yeah. You were the OG in the community game. There's so many communities now, which is great. Run clubs, walking, all of these things. But there was nothing like it. There really wasn't. Because I remember I'd just moved to Manchester, didn't really know anyone. And it did just feel like that safe space where, you can have conversation. We spoke, and you were so friendly, and it just really did feel
good.
Yeah. It did. You've nailed the names of all of these because we can't help but say them,
it's just
which is genius.
That's a testament to the alignment of how you wanted it to feel, aligned with the brand.
Yeah.
Like, it does feel good. Like, it did feel good. Like, like, nailed it.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thank
well
you.
done.
And I guess, so we have to mention the fact that you were running it with Amy, who was your wife at the time.
Yeah.
How did that look, when you were running it with a partner? How is it navigating having a business with someone and going through a divorce, I guess? Like, because such a difficult question. But I feel like there's so many people that are involved with an ex, whether it's parenting, whether it's owning a business. And, you're in a unique position. Well, there's loads of people that have probably gone through it, but not speaking on platforms about it. And I think there's a lot of value and just comfort that people could maybe take from your experience and how you've navigated that.
It's hard. There's no other way really to describe it. I think running a business with a partner is tough. You probably
it is,
you really have to try and make time to still be you as a couple. And then there's so many benefits to it, I think, because you're both so invested in what you're doing. But I think it can create this feeling of like, I'm a very positive person, so I always try and see the best in everything.
Yeah.
But business is business, and sometimes it's really, really hard. So it is going to affect your home life, and you don't necessarily have that person to go and like vent to because you're both in it together. But at the same time, that's also incredible because you're both in it together.
Yeah.
And, I can imagine sometimes if you've had a really stressful day at work and you're going home to a partner that hasn't experienced that, they might not always get it. Yeah. Whereas you both get it. So that there's benefits and difficulties, I think, to both. Wouldn't change it at all. But I think also then going through, and I think it's, I process things really slowly, I've realised. And I think it's only hit me recently how difficult that is to do, but also you have this brand that is so built on you two being a couple that then you find yourself in this position where you're having to announce your divorce to 500,000 people.
You did do a post, didn't you?
Yeah.
You were kind of like, guys.
And how did that go down?
The support was amazing.
Yeah.
It was incredible because we were really scared to do that. Like we'd decided that we were going to break up quite a long time before we even told anybody. And I think there was that journey of first telling your friends and your family. We were together for 15 years, so we'd kind of grown up together, and our families were so intertwined that we actually didn't even want to tell anyone because it felt like such a big conversation. So then after we'd done that, we were just a bit, I think we were both scared because we were like, what does this mean for the brand as well? Like, and people that follow us, but we had to do it because there was a conversation where we were like, do we have to put our personal life so out there? But ultimately we'd built this brand that was so linked to our personal life anyway that we kind of had to. Otherwise it felt inauthentic.
Yes.
And, we were
that's
doing
not who you are.
we were doing a lot of content like this where we'd be sat on a sofa chatting and it started to feel like we were lying.
Yeah.
So we had to do it.
And you'd probably subconsciously have felt quite stunted in what you'd post after that, because it's kind of like you don't want, if you've not addressed it, then your content looks very different. And obviously people would have been able to tell that you were living in a different place, and then people start to be like, wait a sec, like they start to create stories that you're not in control of. And I think like actually, being authentic and open, and obviously I saw your post, was like the best way to do that when the community is based on authenticity. And
I mean, me and Amy were joined at the hip. So as soon as we were like turning up to work separately and we'd be out separately, and then there was the whole conversation of us both moving on and like dating other people, and like I'd be out and I'd be like, are people gonna think I'm cheating on my wife?
Yeah.
Like, is this like...
That's so true,
It just, and it became really like suffocating in a way because I was so like, and I'm I'm not saying that you're like super well known, but the brand is known
you guys
in Manchester.
are in Manchester, 100%.
So it kind of did end up feeling like, oh, I don't know what to do. So you felt, and then I moved onto a boat, and then Amy was getting all these messages to be like, oh my God, you and Kiera have moved onto a boat.
Yeah.
And Amy's like, I'm not
on the
boat. So yeah, it was a really strange thing to navigate. But the support was amazing.
Yeah.
I've been focusing on building feeling.
Yeah.
And Amy has been focusing on what the new kind of iteration of Feel Good Club is going to look like post venue.
Yes.
Because, you know, as much as you can have all of the best intentions to want to continue to for it to be the same, it isn't always going to be the same. And I think we'd put so much pressure on ourselves to carry on as normal that it gets to a point where you have to be like, okay, things aren't normal.
No. It's the new normal.
Yeah.
And that's such a COVID phrase, but it's so true.
Yeah.
Like, you're trying to, sorry, PTSD, PTSD. But that's a very mature way of looking at it.
Yeah.
And it could very easy, of course, you know, you'd be so naive to be like, oh, it's going to be the same. And of course, it's like any breakup, whether you own a business together or not. At the start, it's all sorries and it's all like love yous and it's all like this. But really, in reality, when, you know, and the moving on conversation's a big one, like when the new normal does hit in, it, you know, it's never going to be the same, and that's good because we weren't happy when it was what it was then.
Exactly.
So we need to move on. I think that's a natural iteration and very mature way to go about it.
Yeah, exactly.
So how's the boat?
The boat is great. The boat is so different. I'd always had this like little feeling of like I'd love to experience it.
Yeah.
And then when we sold our house, it just so happened that there was a boat for sale that was the exact amount that I got for the house. So
your life is
so like
wow.
everything. Yeah.
But it is, it's divine timing. And it's not just your life. I feel like everyone's life like that. You're just like, wow, why is that happening? Oh my God, it's setting me up perfectly for the next thing, the next thing. Like, such is life. I just love that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we'd been living in town for a while because our house pre-breakup, I'd had this massive leak, like huge leak. We had to leave the house for like a year. And then we were living in town, and I knew that I wanted to continue to live in town, but I didn't want to buy there.
Yeah.
And I also didn't want to pay time rent.
No.
So when we'd sold the house, I was like, right, I'm going to get this boat.
Great.
And it's just cute.
What's the boat called?
It's called Neroli.
Neroli.
Which
I love
it already had that name. And apparently you have to do like this big ceremony if you change your name because it's good luck. It's bad luck if you don't. And I was like, I'm not...
Bad juju.
Culture. I didn't know about that.
I need to know if you pay council tax. If you have to pay council tax on a boat, you don't have to.
No, you don't have to.
Amazing.
Sold.
Yeah.
Oh my God, honestly.
It is the cheapest way of living.
Please go into that because I think that's so interesting.
Yeah.
Like, I was obviously
Do you have a mortgage? Sorry.
No.
Sorry.
Mortgage. Yeah,
so
she owns the boat.
So what I got for the house, I could buy the boat for. So
great.
It just...
So cost-wise, you don't have to cost to moor it, or you do?
So you have to pay to moor it,
okay,
which is a yearly fee, or you can pay it monthly.
Yeah.
But that's like $3,500 for the year.
Yeah.
So
in an apartment, you pay a service fee, I guess. Toilets. I want to know the toilet situation on a boat. I feel like everyone will ask this question. But it's such
I've talked about poo so much since buying a boat.
But everyone wants
insane.
to know.
You kind of just have to. Everyone wants to know.
I've talked about
you've got to empty the toilet. That's the worst.
Is that the worst bit about it? Yeah.
It's surprising how quickly you
habituate
and
get it.
Desensitized.
Yeah, it's kind of just normal. Actually, the first time I did it was horrific.
That's so interesting for like dating because you're getting to know them very quick because you're emptying their poo.
Yeah. It was, it's been quite awkward actually on several occasions.
So that's the worst bit. What's the best bit about living on a boat?
The best bit about living on a boat, I think, is I know I probably sound a bit mad saying this, but everything takes a little bit longer. Like there are a few more steps that you have to take to do everything.
To have a poo.
Yeah, to have a poo, to empty your toilet, to light a fire, to put the hob on to do your kettle.
Yeah.
And why do you like the slower pace?
I don't know, because I'm such a I've always been a person that is like, I love ease. I love like simplifying everything in my life so I can do things a lot quicker. But this has kind of like forced me at home to slow down a little bit. And my internet's I've got internet, but it's really bad on there. So I don't watch TV anymore. I don't really like, it just feels like a sanctuary because you're on water. I can't swim, by the way. So
living on the edge.
It was all so really, again, like when I said I fly into things and I don't really think too much about them. I saw the boat for probably 20 minutes and I was like, I'll take it. And the woman was like, really? And I hadn't seen the bathroom at this point either. I actually had, the first time I saw the bathroom of that boat was when I moved in.
No way.
Mad.
Everyone thought I was nuts. And it probably was a little bit, but
all the best people are, my friend.
Yeah, it just like, you don't have as much stuff. And I was someone who just like hoarded everything. I love little ornaments and plants and everything. So it's like a one in, one out now.
Bouncer policy. I love it.
So it's kind of slow, like while my like work life has been really busy, it's kind of forced me to slow down. And there's just something about, when I moved in, I sat down and I was like, I can't swim, what's going on? Why have I done this? And I had a little freak out, but then made it my own, got the fire on.
Yeah, it
and
looks
it's just
so
peaceful.
cozy, honestly.
Yeah.
I was actually telling my dad about the boat. I was showing him the videos and he was like, this is just amazing. But I feel like more people should like live in a way, like you said, you'd always fancied it, you'd always wanted to. And I think sometimes we forget that one of the only perks of being an adult is that you actually can do what you want to do.
What you want,
like what I was saying about going to New York for a month, like, you know, there's a million reasons why not, but then it's like, listen to the one reason that it's like you desire to do it and you've acted on that, which I love. And you'll never have like, oh, what would it have been like if I lived on a boat? You live on a boat, and that is just such a cool like topic of conversation as well, isn't it?
It's actually so good. Like if I'm ever out and I'm stuck for conversation, I'll be like,
I live on a boat.
And no one can follow that for the next half hour.
Yeah, literally, and the rest. Like people have so many questions about it. But yeah, it's great. I'd highly recommend like switching. Switching up if people are thinking about it or considering it. Switching up just like your home life for a little bit and trying something a bit different.
Have you seen that coffee shop that's on the boat?
Yeah.
I feel like that would be it. Like that's a really clever way to monetize, I guess. Your living space, it pays the
they
mooring.
live on the boat that is the coffee
I think
shop.
they live on it. Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Oh, wow,
it's
that's such a good idea.
Yeah, it's smart. And just before we wrap up, you obviously wrote a book, which was amazing. Very pretty cover as well. I approve of the cover. I'm a big cover enthusiast, aren't I? Despite that, don't judge a book by its cover. I'm like, that looks like a good book. So when did you write that? When was the...
That was, oh God, how long ago was that now? I think that was probably like 3 years ago.
Okay.
It's actually wild that I forgot to mention that.
Literally wild. She sent me her bio, literally did not include author, which is such an amazing accolade. But if you were to write a book now, what would the title be?
Ooh. God, that's a big question.
Whilst I give you time to think, I'll plug the book because it's called Feel Good Club, isn't it?
Yes.
And it's like a pink and purple cover, which is, would look great on all of your bookshelves, listeners. They are always wanting book recommendations, aren't they?
Yeah. Right, okay, well, yeah.
Great. So have you come up with a title for...
I think it would probably be something along the lines of, if it's going wrong, keep going. Like I think there's something in when everything feels like it's kind of like falling apart that it is going to get better, but you have to like sit in it for a little bit to feel stuff. But if you sit for too long, it will crush you. And I think you just have to like keep going. It's not going to be wrong for forever. So I think, and I'd probably have a lot to talk about.
I love that. I'd buy it. I would 100% buy it. Yeah. So what's next? So what are you working on at the moment? I obviously know, but for listeners and people that are watching on YouTube, what are you working on at the moment? Where can they find you as well after that?
So working on a brand called Feeling at the moment, which is again, when I was talking about kind of like simplifying life, I love everything to be simple. Like I wanted to create something. It actually came about from being at Feel Good Club. We had like our coffee shop and 3 o'clock would hit every day and the whole team would be like nailing coffee and then we'd get this massive spike and then we'd get this like massive crash. And I was like, there has to be something better than this. So I was looking into like all the supplements that I was using, which was like powders or tablets, and like in the mornings, who has got time to sit there and have like 10 different supplements? And I think the wellness, nutrition, supplement space is so noisy right now that if I put into Google, I'm tired, how do I fix this? There are a million different things that you can do. So I was like, okay, what actually would fix it and how do we make it simple? So I stumbled across patches and they work in the same way. The easiest way to describe it is it works in the same way as a nicotine patch, that you put it on, goes straight through your transdermal layer, and it's full of vitamins and a very small amount of caffeine that all work together to boost your energy. So they work.
Yeah.
And I'm still like gobsmacked every day when I get to 3 o'clock and I get tired. That's like my tired point of the day. And then I put it on and I'm like, oh, this actually works. It doesn't feel like it should work because it's just a little smiley face sticker.
Have you not brought them?
I haven't, you know.
No, I bought them when you went live because I was just like, this is genius, because I like to be a master of my minutes and the pills like on the side just does not work with me. So just quick slap on, and it's like a state. I love the look of it. It's fashion.
Yeah, it is fashion.
So genius. And from a business perspective, genius, because very light to post, which is fab. You can get it far and wide, which I think is amazing. So yeah, very, very innovative.
Thank you.
Huge fan. Where can people find the business? Where can they find you?
So they can find on Instagram.
Instagram,
really. Kiera Lawlor on Instagram, and then Begin Feeling on Instagram as well. And everything's on there. You can get them on there. And this is like this is the first launch into it. We've only been launched for like 2 months.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different patches that I want to release and that I'm working on in the background, but then also moving into like other supplement space. And the whole purpose of the brand is to simplify feeling well and like working at your best and feeling at your best. So I'm always so tempted to say feel good.
Yeah.
It is.
It makes so much sense.
Yeah. So.
And last thing for the listeners, so can you give us like one of your favorite quotes that someone's going to hear and it's going to just make them feel like they're going to be fine? Because obviously the whole premise of the podcast is just we want to let people we want to remind people that they are going to be fine. What's a quote that's kind of, you know, you've lived your life by?
I think that I really love the quote. What is it? It's like, when something feels like it's ending, it actually might just be the beginning.
Yeah.
And I think like I've had so many like endings in my life of things that I thought I was going to do forever. And they've ended, or I've chose to end them, and actually something incredible has come out of each one of them. So I think, you know, while endings, and I hate saying goodbye to things and ending things, actually they can be the best things that you do for like future you. So
can be becoming. I love that. Amazing.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you.
Can't
guys.
end it any
Love
better.
that.
Thank you. Amazing.